For years, you've been told that eggs are one of the healthiest foods you can eat. And it's true. Eggs are packed with protein, vitamins like B12 and D, and nutrients that support your muscles, bones, and brain. But here's something you may not know. What you eat with your eggs could be silently working against your health. Yes, even a wholesome-looking breakfast, like eggs with toast and tea, might be interfering with your digestion, robbing your body of vital nutrients, and even contributing to inflammation, joint pain, and fatigue. It's not your fault. These food combinations are so common, we don't even think twice about them. But new research is revealing that some of the most popular pairings with eggs may be doing more harm than good, especially for seniors. So in today's video, I'll walk you through 3 food combinations you should never eat with eggs. And more importantly, I'll show you smarter, healthier swaps that actually boost the benefits of your breakfast instead of blocking them. This isn't about giving up eggs. It's about making a few simple changes that can improve your energy, support healthy aging, and help you get the most out of every meal. So grab a cup of herbal tea, get comfortable, and stay with me until the end, because what you'll learn in the next few minutes could make a real difference in how you feel every day. Your health is too important to leave to chance, especially now. Section 1, Eggs and White Bread, the Blood Sugar Trap. Now let's talk about a breakfast combination that seems perfectly normal, but may be silently draining your energy and weakening your body over time. Eggs and white bread. You've probably had this pairing hundreds of times. Scrambled eggs with toast, a fried egg sandwich, maybe even eggs and an English muffin. It's quick, familiar, and feels like a healthy start to the day. But for seniors, this combination can create the perfect storm inside your body. Eggs, on their own, are an excellent source of protein, choline, vitamin D, and other nutrients that support your muscles, brain, and bones. But white bread is a refined carbohydrate, stripped of fiber and nutrients. It digests quickly, causing a sharp spike in blood sugar followed by a crash. This roller coaster effect doesn't just make you feel tired or foggy. Over time, it can lead to insulin resistance, inflammation, and increased risk of type 2 diabetes, conditions that especially impact older adults. Even more concerning, unstable blood sugar contributes to chronic inflammation, which research from Harvard Health links to age-related muscle loss, cognitive decline, and joint damage. So what should you eat instead? Swap white bread for whole grain or sprouted grain bread. These options are rich in fiber, which slows digestion and keeps your blood sugar steady. Or try a roasted sweet potato, which is full of antioxidants and complex carbs that fuel your energy. You can even pair your eggs with sautéed spinach or kale, adding iron, folate, and anti-inflammatory power to your plate. Remember, every small swap counts. This isn't just about what's on your plate. It's about how your meals can either fuel your strength or slowly take it away. Section 2, Eggs and Soy Products, a nutrient clash you didn't see coming. Now, if you're someone who's turned to soy as a healthy option, maybe adding tofu to your eggs, drinking soy milk with breakfast, or even enjoying a veggie scramble, this next part is especially for you. Eggs and soy products seem like a power pair. Both are high in protein, plant-based, and low in saturated fat. But when eaten together, especially on a regular basis, they can actually do more harm than good, especially as we age. Let's break it down. Soy contains compounds called trypsin inhibitors, naturally occurring molecules that block the enzymes your body needs to break down protein. Now think about that. You're eating a high-protein meal, but your body can't fully absorb or use it. For seniors who are already at higher risk of muscle loss and weakness, this is a serious concern. And there's more. Eggs, particularly egg whites, contain a protein called avidin. This protein binds to biotin, a B vitamin essential for energy, hair, and skin health, and nervous system function. When you add soy to the mix, you increase the chances of reduced biotin absorption, potentially leading to fatigue, brittle nails, thinning hair, or even tingling in the hands and feet over time. And let's not forget digestion. For many seniors, soy can trigger bloating, gas, or heaviness, especially when paired with another high-protein food like eggs. That means instead of feeling fueled, you might feel sluggish and uncomfortable right after breakfast. So, what's a better combination? Skip the soy and instead pair your eggs with nutrient-boosting veggies. Spinach is rich in iron and folate. Mushrooms offer antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. Add a few slices of avocado for healthy fats, or cook your eggs in olive oil to support brain and heart health. These pairings don't just taste great, they help your body absorb more nutrients and support digestion, muscle recovery, and brain clarity. The bottom line? Even two healthy foods like eggs and soy can clash if you're not careful. Especially in your golden years, choosing the right combinations can make a world of difference for your energy, strength, and overall health. Section 3, Eggs and Tea, a morning mistake you never noticed. Let's paint a familiar picture. It's early morning. You've just made a plate of eggs, maybe scrambled, maybe boiled, and beside it, a warm, comforting cup of tea. It's a routine millions of seniors enjoy every day. But what if this peaceful habit is quietly working against your health? You see, tea, especially black and green varieties, is rich in compounds called tannins. Tannins aren't all bad. They're antioxidants, after all. But here's the surprising part. When consumed with protein-rich foods like eggs, tannins bind to the proteins and minerals in your food. Translation? Your body can't absorb those nutrients effectively. That means key nutrients found in eggs like iron, choline, and high-quality protein are not being fully utilized by your body. For seniors who often face challenges with nutrient absorption, anemia, and low energy, this could mean missing out on the very benefits you're trying to get from your breakfast. But that's not all. Tannins can also interfere with iron absorption. And here's the kicker. Eggs already contain iron. So pairing them with tea is like giving your body iron with one hand and taking it away with the other. If you've ever felt unusually tired or noticed a drop in energy during the day, this could be part of the reason. So what's the solution? It's beautifully simple. Time your tea. Instead of drinking it with your meal, enjoy it 30 to 60 minutes before or after breakfast. This allows your body to absorb the nutrients in your eggs first, then reap the antioxidant benefits of tea afterward. Want a better pairing? Try a small glass of fresh orange juice. The vitamin C boosts iron absorption, turning your meal into a powerful energy and blood-building breakfast. Or go for herbal teas like chamomile or peppermint. These are naturally free of tannins, gentle on your digestion, and won't interfere with nutrient absorption. It's these little tweaks, like shifting your tea time, that can have a huge impact on your energy, your bones, and your long-term health. So ask yourself this. Is that morning tea helping or hurting your ability to age with strength? Section 4, Eggs and Pumpkin, the vision-boosting duo you've been missing. Let me introduce you to one of the most underrated food pairings for seniors' health, a combination so simple yet so powerful, it might just surprise you. Eggs and pumpkin. Now I know what you're thinking. Pumpkin? With eggs? But stay with me. Because this pairing is one of nature's smartest designs, especially when it comes to protecting your vision, preserving your energy, and keeping your digestion steady as you age. Let's start with pumpkin. It's rich in beta-carotene, a plant pigment your body converts into vitamin A, a nutrient essential for maintaining healthy eyesight. As we age, our vision becomes more vulnerable to conditions like macular degeneration and night blindness. Just one serving of pumpkin delivers over 200% of your daily vitamin A needs. Now, combine that with eggs, one of the richest natural sources of lutein and zeaxanthin, two antioxidants that act like internal sunglasses. These nutrients filter harmful blue light, protect the retina, and reduce your risk of age-related eye diseases. It's a 1-2 punch for your vision and beyond. Here's something else seniors often struggle with: energy crashes after meals. Pumpkin is also packed with fiber and complex carbs, which stabilize blood sugar and help maintain energy throughout the day. When paired with the high-quality protein in eggs, you get a complete nutrient-dense meal that supports muscle repair, metabolism, and brain health. Let me give you a real-world example. One of my patients in her late 60s, Margaret, had been battling low energy and early signs of vision decline. She made just one small change, adding roasted pumpkin with her morning eggs 3 times a week. Within a month, she reported fewer eye floaters, better energy, and improved digestion. So how can you enjoy this pairing? Try this. Roast pumpkin cubes with a sprinkle of cinnamon and olive oil, then serve alongside a soft-boiled egg. Or blend steamed pumpkin into a creamy soup and top with a poached egg and some sautéed greens. Not only is it delicious, it's functional food at its best. This isn't just a quirky recipe tip. It's a long-term strategy to protect your independence. Clear vision, strong muscles, steady energy. These are the things that keep us mobile, safe, and confident as we age. Section 5. Eggs and cheese. A bone-strengthening, brain-boosting power combo. Now let's talk about a breakfast pairing that most of us already love, but might not realize just how beneficial it is, especially for seniors. Eggs and cheese. Sure, they taste great together in an omelet or a scrambled egg dish, but this isn't just about flavor. It's about fortifying your bones and fueling your brain, 2 of the most critical areas of health as we age. Let's start with your bones. Eggs are one of the few natural sources of vitamin D, the nutrient that helps your body absorb calcium, the mineral that keeps bones dense and strong. But here's the thing. Eggs alone don't provide much calcium. That's where cheese comes in. Cheese, especially hard, aged varieties like cheddar, Gouda, and Parmesan, is rich in calcium, the exact mineral your bones need. So when you eat eggs and cheese together, you're giving your body both the key and the lock, vitamin D from the eggs, calcium from the cheese. This synergy helps prevent conditions like osteopenia and osteoporosis, which affect nearly 1 in 2 women and 1 in 4 men over 50, according to the National Osteoporosis Foundation. But the benefits don't stop at your skeleton. Choline, found in egg yolks, supports memory and cognitive function. And studies from Harvard Health show that higher choline intake in older adults is linked to better brain performance and reduced risk of dementia. Pair that with the probiotics found in aged cheeses, which improve gut health and help your body absorb nutrients better, and you've got a cognitive super meal. Here's a real example. One of my longtime patients, a retired teacher named Paul, came to me complaining of occasional forgetfulness and hip pain. We didn't just increase his calcium supplement. We added a daily cheesy egg scramble with vegetables to his breakfast routine. Within 6 weeks, not only did his energy improve, but his mobility and focus noticeably increased. So, what's the best way to enjoy this duo? Try a soft scrambled egg with shredded cheddar, cooked gently in olive oil. Or bake a mini frittata with eggs, cheese, spinach, and cherry tomatoes. It's easy to reheat and packed with nutrients. Even a simple hard-boiled egg and a few cubes of aged cheese make a smart snack. Just remember, go light on the salt, especially if you have high blood pressure. Choose low-sodium cheeses when possible, and balance the meal with fresh veggies. In short, this combination is comfort food with purpose, keeping your bones strong, your memory sharp, and your independence intact. Section 6. Eggs and apples. A surprisingly refreshing combo for digestion and energy. Now this one might surprise you. Eggs and apples? It's not your typical breakfast combo, but trust me, it should be. For seniors, especially those dealing with sluggish digestion, low energy, or blood sugar swings, this duo is one of the most balanced and supportive pairings you can put on your plate. Let's break it down. Eggs are, as we've covered, loaded with high-quality protein, B vitamins, and iron, nutrients that support muscle health, oxygen transport, and brain function. But for some, eating eggs alone, especially boiled or fried, can feel a little heavy. That's where apples come in. Apples contain pectin, a soluble fiber that helps regulate digestion by slowing the breakdown of food, balance blood sugar levels, and improve nutrient absorption, especially fats and proteins like those in eggs. They also provide vitamin C, which enhances the body's ability to absorb non-heme iron. like the kind found in eggs. So when you pair them together, you're not just getting nutrients, you're helping your body use them better. Here's a personal story from one of my former clients, Linda, a 68-year-old retired librarian. She struggled with mid-morning crashes and digestive bloating. I recommended a simple change. Swap her usual heavy breakfast for a hard-boiled egg and a sliced apple with cinnamon. Within days, she reported better digestion, no more crashes, and a surprising boost in mental clarity. You can enjoy this combo in several ways. Keep it simple with a boiled egg and apple slices. Toss diced eggs and apples into a spinach salad with walnuts and a lemon yogurt dressing. Or even try a breakfast bowl with chopped apples, scrambled eggs, and a sprinkle of cinnamon on a bed of quinoa or greens. It's a clean, balanced meal that won't weigh you down. And it's especially ideal for senior digestion, which often slows with age due to reduced enzyme production and changes in gut microbiota. Want a bonus benefit? Apples also help reduce LDL cholesterol thanks to their fiber, while eggs, contrary to old beliefs, don't significantly raise cholesterol in most people, according to research from Harvard Health and Mayo Clinic. In short, this unlikely duo supports smooth digestion, steady energy, better iron absorption, and cardiovascular health. So, next time you reach for toast or cereal, ask yourself, would an egg and apple be the smarter start to your day? Section 7, How You Cook Eggs, the difference between health and harm for seniors. We've talked a lot about what you eat with your eggs, but now it's time to talk about how you cook them. And for seniors, this might be one of the most important health upgrades you can make. Most people don't realize that the way you prepare eggs can preserve or destroy the very nutrients your body needs, especially as you age. Let's break it down. Overcooking eggs, especially on high heat, can damage delicate compounds like vitamin B12, supports nerve health and red blood cell production, choline, critical for brain function and memory, and powerful antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect your eyes from age-related degeneration. High-heat cooking, like frying on a sizzling pan, also oxidizes cholesterol in the yolk, something research from Cleveland Clinic suggests may increase cardiovascular risk if consumed regularly. Worse yet, using processed oils or butter can add harmful trans fats or oxidized compounds that promote inflammation, something seniors must avoid to protect muscles, joints, and arteries. So what's the solution? Better cooking methods for eggs. After 60. 1. Soft-boiled, 6 minutes. Cooks the whites for safety, keeps yolks runny to preserve nutrients. Supports digestion and protects heat-sensitive vitamins. 2. Poached. Uses water, not oil. No extra fats, just gentle heat. Ideal for heart health and minimal nutrient loss. 3. Low heat scrambled. Stir slowly on low heat. Use olive oil or avocado oil. Add spinach, tomatoes, or onions to boost antioxidants. 4. Steamed or baked like frittatas. Slow, even cooking preserves texture and nutrients. Great for batch prep and portion control. Did you know? Raw egg whites contain avidin, which binds to biotin, vitamin B7, and blocks its absorption. But cooking deactivates avidin, allowing your body to absorb this nutrient fully, essential for energy, hair, skin, and nails. So that raw egg smoothie, not as healthy as you think. Pro tip, combine your cooked eggs with steamed greens or avocado for extra fiber and healthy fats. Or place poached eggs on a slice of whole grain toast for slow-burning carbs and B vitamins. Even a small upgrade in your cooking habits can turn a simple egg into a longevity food, supporting muscles, protecting your heart, boosting brain power, and helping you age with strength and clarity. Take a moment and think about everything your legs have carried you through in life. From your first steps as a child, to chasing dreams in your youth, to standing strong during life's hardest moments, and now to the daily joys of walking through the park, playing with grandkids, or simply moving freely in your home. But as we age, these small movements, steps, bends, even standing, can slowly start to feel harder. Many assume it's just part of getting older. But the truth is, it's not just age, it's what's on your plate. Every food choice you make either nourishes your muscles and strengthens your legs, or quietly takes that strength away. By now, you've learned that eggs, a powerhouse of nutrition, can either support your senior health or work against it, depending on how you cook them and what you eat them with. Pairing them with refined carbs, soy, or tea might seem harmless. But science shows these combos reduce nutrient absorption, disrupt digestion, and trigger long-term inflammation. On the other hand, smarter combinations like eggs with pumpkin, spinach, apples, or cheese not only preserve nutrients, they amplify them. It's not about perfection. It's about making a better choice, one meal at a time. Imagine waking up and knowing your breakfast isn't just tasty. It's rebuilding your muscle strength, protecting your bones, supporting your vision, fueling your brain, and helping you stay active, independent, and pain-free for years to come. That's the power of informed eating. That's the power of small, smart choices. So here's my question to you. What will you change about your next meal? Will you continue pairing foods that secretly sabotage your strength? Or will you take the first step toward a future where you move freely, confidently, and with vitality? Drop your answer in the comments. Let's share, support, and grow stronger together. And if this video opened your eyes, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Because when it comes to senior health, knowledge isn't just power. It's freedom, it's prevention, and it's your right to live strong every single day. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.